Here's my review of episodes 13 through 15 of Grimm Season 5. For those who haven't seen my last episode, I really strongly recommend watching it beforehand because what I'm about to say is very confusing. So yes, we start with the stick. They very quickly realize, okay, we don't know much about the stick. All we know is it's powerful. It's clearly it was able to heal him. Some magical stick. So like, until we know what's going on, we're gonna have to assume there's a reason why they probably hid this stick in the first place. Let's hide it again. And Rosalie rightfully points out, exactly that. Okay, so we found this just to hide it again. That sounds like it probably should never have been found in the first place, if that's what it's all about. And we're going to be talking more about the stick throughout the season, especially in season 6. So yeah, Nick goes and he hides the stick, but he doesn't tell Adeline that he has the stick. Neither does Adeline tell him that she has her powers back. But she does ask him, like, what would happen when I get my powers back? And he's like, we'll figure it out then. I love them as a couple, but really, there's season 5. They're working things out, and it's like, I forgot until I finished the season, like, yeah, it really doesn't get to a really healthy place by the end of the season. It's like, season 6 is where it gets more healthy, but like, yeah, there's this uncomfortable, like, untrusting, and there's like, throughout the rest of the season, they're going to keep bringing up, like, okay, we need to trust each other more. But so they both don't trust each other. He doesn't tell her about the stick. She doesn't tell him about her powers. Meanwhile, this mask maker for wrestlers gets this special request from this man to make a very special mask for him. And so this man goes out and he kills a vessel to make his face into a mask for this man. And he warns him that you do not want to keep this on for too long. He doesn't explain fully the reason why, but we'll figure out later on, the longer you keep it on, it's gonna mess with your mind and all. Meanwhile, Eve starting to piece together that something's up with this whole assassination. So she goes checks in the campaign manager's house and she finds a poster for Charminade for mayor. And she's like, but then she realizes that poster was sent to her a couple days before the assassination. She's like, okay, clearly she was in on this and something's going on. And she goes and talks to the captain and she's like trying to figure out from him what he knows. And she doesn't like really hint out that she knows more. She just acts like Eve does. And of course, it's a little bit uncomfortable for the captain being the first time he's seen Eve, really talking to Eve, and just like, okay, this is Juliet, but not Juliet. Eve is Eve is just crazy different with just no emotions. And we'll talk about that later on in the season. But yeah, she's like just cold, answer my questions. And he's like, here. And she's like, okay, that's all I need. And she just leaves. Meanwhile, the new mask owner goes out and he starts winning all his fights because he has all the power of this new vessel, and always like everyone loves him besides his component who was supposed to win the fight. Because it's one of those like staged. The man who has this new mask is always supposed to lose that build up this other guy. Because he's winning now, it's like, okay, that's not how it's supposed to work. And so this other man is pissed at him. And so they get into a fight. And in the end, the man with the vested mask kills the other guy. But after that, he can't get the mask to come off. And so it's like glued onto his face. And he goes back, asking the mask maker to try to get it off. And the mask maker now has to do this special ceremony. But before he gets the chance, the man kills him too. So then at that moment, Nick, who's been investigating, he investigated the man who was killed to get the mask. He's investigated, this new killing. Like he's now picked up on, okay, I know who it is, and they managed to get down there in time to get the mask off of him. And he is now like mentally insane practically, and it's like because it just messed with his mind too much. And the episode ends with Blacklaw telling Sean that if you run for mayor, we'll find a way to get Diana back to you. And so he calls up Adeline's like, I think I know a way that we can get Diana back. And so that's where the episode ends. Next episode we have it so Nick hides the box in the tunnel, and then he finds a way to get that door open in the tunnel that he's been working on. He gets it open and he checks down and he doesn't go too far, but he now has the door open and it just seems like it goes into more tunnel. Meanwhile, this man trying to go visit his mom when his car breaks down and he's stuck in the woods. He starts running for the woods to try to get to his mom. Then he suddenly wakes up in the middle of the highway and a truck almost runs him over. He's covered in blood. So then Nick has to start investigating this, and when he brings Monroe out, they find 2 dead bodies. And also Monroe picks up the smell of a lycanthrope, which is another word for a werewolf. So we're dealing with werewolf, and they pick up on, okay, this guy clearly is a werewolf. So they arrest him, and they're going to try to see what they can do to cure the werewolf in him. But the problem is then they realize it's not him. The whole time it's his mother, and so they run out to try to get to his mother in time, but she already turns into a werewolf, and she attacks them, and in the end, Nick has to shoot her dead. But while they were fighting, Wu got scratched by the lycanthrope, and so we'll see where that goes. The episode ends with Eve calling up Nick, and Adeline picks up the phone, and she's disturbed a little bit by the fact of, this is Juliet, but not Juliet, and she's like, hi, Eve, and she's like, hi, Adeline. like, the most deadpan way, like, and basically asks Nick to come down to HW so she can talk to him, and she tells him about this, her whole theory behind what's going on. Her theory is actually completely correct. Is, Black Claws behind this. They set it up the whole time to have Andrew Dixon killed and have Sean Renaud pick up from him to become mayor, so they can have him control and have Black Claw uprise and take over Portland. Meanwhile, in the next episode, a photographer is finding these attractive people, and then he, takes pictures of them, but then after they fall asleep, because they're like the flash and all, and just getting tired out, he turns into a vessel who just sucks out their beauty, and then these people, when they go back home, they just suddenly get drained of all of their beauty and all their age, and they become old and all, but they're still the same people, they're just old now and die because of that, because they just wrinkle and die. Now Nick has to investigate this and try to figure out what's going on with this, and he's starting to pick up on who this type of vessel is, what they do and all. Meanwhile, he also gets called into the captain's office, both him and Hank, and they get it confirmed by the captain that yes, he is running for mayor, and that he's asking them legitimately, like, would you support me? It's like, yeah, of course I would. Of course we would support you. But in the back, Nick and Hank are like, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if I want to support him and all. But they're not. It's not to the point where like they are 100% sure he's Black Claw. And meanwhile, we see what the Vessin is using this substance that he's getting out of these young people, and sucking out the beauty and all. And basically what happens is it can be used if you put it on your skin and then use a UV light on it. It can like suck into your skin and make it so it de-ages you, makes like removes all wrinkles and all. And so this person who he's selling it to, this doctor, is now using it to have this miracle de-aging fountain of youth cream. And so he's selling it to these women who just want to look beautiful again and making all this money off of them. And so because he's suddenly making all this money off, he's telling this Vessin, like, okay, I need more. And so this guy has to start killing more and more. Nick eventually picks up on it, and he figures out also about the doctor, and then they use Rosalie to go to the doctor's office, and Rosalie almost gets attacked by the guy. The doctor's face is just completely distorted because of him using it too much, and the doctor takes down the Vessin, and then he's left to be completely insane and all. And then the episode ends with Eve turning into Sean so she can go investigate some stuff, which is really a disturbing sight to see, because you see the lower body of a full-grown, like, Sean Renaud, the actor who plays him, is a super muscular man, and then you have the tiny head of the actress who plays for Eve on the top, and it's really weird to look at. An image you can't get out of your head too quickly, but... So, overall, guys, these episodes are pretty solid. Again, these are also on my list of not my favorite, but they're pretty good episodes. I will say one thing. When I originally watched the series, and multiple other times when I've watched the series, I've actually skipped past the episode about the mask because it just didn't intrigue me that much. But now watching it again, I actually like that episode. I'm trying to figure out why I didn't like the episode in the first place. I can't figure it out. Like, I like the episode now. It's a great episode. So just leave it at that, I guess. It was a good episode. Solid. The rest of the episodes were solid. They're not, again, not my favorite. Like, not like last video was like some of my favorite episodes. These ones are just pretty solid episodes. But further the story along, the lycanthrope is a pretty interesting monster. We'll see what happens with Wu. He's starting to have visions and all, so we'll see where that goes. But for right now, again, pretty good episodes. Next video, we'll have some really fun episodes, so stay tuned for that. Till next time, this has been the Movie Night Reviewer, Peter Wary, signing off.